Marijuana should be legal. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay, now you're going to have to hear him and he's going to have to hear you. Say why you tell him why you slightly disagree that marijuana should be legal.
So first of all,
Tell him.
All right. So first of all, I don't have all the information that I think I would need to form a strong agree or strongly disagree or disagree even. But I see in those countries or those territories that marijuana is legal, that everybody is abusing them, and it really has a lot of damaging effects on people, especially people in development. So teenagers that are stressed here in Romania, especially in Cluj-Napoca, and this is why I think that even me, I would use marijuana if it was legal, and it would have a bad effect on me.
What do you think the bad effect would be?
Well, memory loss would have an effect because I know I would like it and I would use it again and again. And on long term, these are effects that could happen and probably would happen. And also, I couldn't pay that much attention to what I am doing. So these casual things would change in me.
Okay, so not did you agree with her, but did you understand her point about memory loss?
I did.
What do you think about that?
Well, as any other substance, marijuana has some side effects. It has good side effects and bad side effects. I'm not really informed about the memory loss side, but I studied biochemistry, and THC, the psychoactive substance in marijuana, has a lot of benefits for cellular regeneration, and it helps relieve stress a lot. For example, I'm a bodybuilder, and a lot of bodybuilders, especially when they're preparing for a contest, they are using weed because it helps them relax, it helps them with their appetite. And I think marijuana should be legalized because it already is consumed, and by legalizing...
Here, people smoke marijuana here?
Yeah, they smoke a lot of weed, even though it's not legal. And there are a lot of dangers to that because unless you have a really good source, you don't really know what you're buying and what you're smoking. So by legalizing, the state can control that. They can offer good quality marijuana, and they can capitalize on that, like they do on cigarettes, because cigarettes are more harmful, in my opinion, than weed.
Okay. Did anything he say convince you to move to the neutral?
No. I understand that you
Nice
think...
and loud, because
okay.
This is the world's noisiest spot.
I understood the fact that you think that the state would provide us better quality marijuana, but I really think that that would not be the case. For instance, in other substances that we use, medicine and other like alcohol and other things like this, like marijuana, they do not provide us better quality things. They do not want us common people to have a better life. I do not see the majority of politicians or people.
What if you could be shown, for example, like in the United States, the government doesn't do it, it's private corporate. What if you could be shown that the quality of marijuana, when it's legal, is safer than it's illegal? Would that cause you to move to the neutral?
It depends.
On what?
If it's the risks of the health issues that it can cause. If they are only a few risks that you would take by using marijuana.
And the health issues are loss of memory?
That's the one that I recall now. I remember that there were a lot more of these side effects that you could have. I do not know specifically whether they are on this bad quality marijuana that we do have access now, or the actual marijuana, the plant.
Are you worried if we legalize marijuana that she mentioned health effects, that inhaling smoke into your lungs just has to be bad for you? Are you worried about that in terms of the population smoking, the bad for everyone's health, or no?
Well, the population is already smoking tobacco a lot, and
That's incredibly true.
tobacco is cancerogen, so it gives you cancer, and weed doesn't give you cancer. So that's a strong point why I think it should be legalized.
But wait a second. But it what do you mean it doesn't give you cancer?
There's a substance in cigarettes with tobacco that stops the genes in your body that prevent cancer from happening. So that's why you get cancer from cigarettes. There are some genes that regulate the cells in your body to reproduce at a normal amount. And by stopping those genes, certain cells start reproducing a lot, and that's how tumors form. And those genes are suppressed by the substance in cigarettes.
Okay, all right. Is there anything you could tell him to cause him to go to the slightly agree, or you could tell her to go to the new? Is there anything anybody could tell? Like, what's your best argument to try to move her one line? What's your best argument in like one sentence to try to convince the other person to move one line? Do you have a best argument?
Well, that marijuana has.
Tell him.
That marijuana has several components, and those that reduce stress in your body do not cause addiction. And you can separate those things, and you can buy those from drugstores today, even that like those are legal.
Like what?
Like TBC oil, I think. I might not be correct on this, but I think TBC is not the CBD. Thank you. You can buy CBD oil that reduces stress. That one of my bodybuilder friends uses it. It functions. It has its effects, and it's not causing health issues.
Is that enough for you to move one line?
No, I don't think so.
Did you see Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, I did.
There's a scene in there. You remember the scene where he's smoking pot in there?
Yeah, and a lot of bodybuilders do smoke pot.
What could you say to her what's your best line, like one or two sentences, to move her to the neutral?
As I said, people already use the weed, and by it being legalized, the quality of it can be controlled by the state. Not provided, the weed would not be provided by the state, but it would be controlled. And people are already using a lot of bad stuff. And by that being regulated, you are not buying you're not buying something with other chemicals in it, because there's been a real bad issue in a town near Cluj, where a lot of young people, like 13, 14, 15-year-old, ended up in the hospital or nearly dead because they smoked some kind of chemically modified weed.
Is that enough to convince you to move? All right. Is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask you?
Yes.
What should I have asked?
Do I think that all those people who are now not smoking weed would smoke weed when it would become legal? Like this, what amount of people smoke weed today? And what amount of people would smoke when it would be legal? Like, this is a big question, because he provided this as a really strong
argument.
Thank you. The argument, but I think it's not relevant. If you would ask us whether our arguments were relevant to each other in number.
I see.
That would have been.
And do you think it's a problem if more people in societies, like if 8 out of 10 people were constantly walking around stoned, would that be a problem?
Yes.
In what sense?
Legally?
No, not legally. Assuming it was legal, if everybody just started getting high all the time, what would the problem be?
Well, people would act differently, and I, based on the cultural,
Differently, better or worse?
worse.
How would they act if everybody was 9 out of 10 people walking around high all the time?
Well, there's this minority problem in Cluj that I, as a Hungarian, grew up having this problem. People arguing with me or attacking me verbally or physically because I spoke Hungarian. So if like 8 or 9 out of 10 people were high, I
Think they'd
would
be mean?
frightened of going outside.
Really?
Sometimes, yes.
Wow.
Well, when there are some occasions, I would be frightened of going outside of my house because I know that people who are high don't really have that much control of themselves and their acts. So I think that people who normally wouldn't say anything about me speaking my native language here would say things and would act differently towards me and towards my friends who, I don't know, listen to Hungarian music or speak a bit loudly.
Wow, well, I'm truly sorry that's happened to you. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.